Over 400 original episodes, 4 theatrical movies, multiple OVAs, an entirely new sequel series, and decades of fragmented, messy timelines. If you're looking at the Bleach franchise right now, you are probably feeling completely overwhelmed and paralyzed by the sheer volume of the whole shebang. You've heard the hype, you've seen the insane clips on your feed, but jumping in, it feels like an absolutely impossible task. You've probably been putting it off, got lost looking at wikis, or just didn't know where to start. That is exactly why I put together this explainer. We are going to cut through all the noise right now and give you exactly what you need. A clear order, absolutely zero confusion, and absolutely no wasted time.
And that brings us to the massive elephant in the room. 406 total released anime episodes right now. Honestly, I do not blame you for avoiding it, bro. The spread of information out there is terrifying, and you probably accidentally spoiled 3 major plot twists for yourself just trying to figure out what episode comes after season 3. Now, I know 406 episodes sounds like a lot. Here's how to think about it. This isn't a mountain you have to climb all at once. It's a gold mine of peak fiction that is unfortunately surrounded by absolute garbage that you need to carefully step around.
So, where do you even start? Okay, let's dive into this. I'm giving you the ultimate zero confusion roadmap. This isn't just a basic list of what to skip, it's about preserving the emotional momentum of the actual story. No wasted time, no complicated spreadsheets, no getting bogged down in useless filler that absolutely ruins the pacing. Just the exact correct 2026 watch order to survive this massive franchise, protect the narrative's incredible vibe, and experience the absolute best version of the story without losing your mind.
Before we carve up the timeline, let's talk about what you're actually getting into. Bleach is the ultimate supernatural battle shonen. It follows a high schooler named Ichigo Kurosaki who accidentally absorbs the powers of a soul reaper, basically a samurai grim reaper, and gets dragged into a hidden, centuries-old spiritual war. What makes Bleach so uniquely captivating isn't just the massive swords or the insanely cool power system, it's the sheer unmatched style. It just drips with early 2000s punk rock attitude. The contrast between the gritty urban fantasy aesthetic of Karakura Town and the deeply traditional samurai hierarchy of the Soul Society is brilliant. Plus, legendary composer Shiro Sugisu delivers a soundtrack fusing hardcore rock and haunting choirs that will literally live in your head rent-free. It's for anyone who loves high-stakes sword fights paired with deep, shadowy lore. So, the absolutely crucial point is establishing the golden path. You start right at episode 1 with the Substitute Soul Reaper arc, taking you straight through episode 20. Then, you seamlessly enter episodes 21 through 63. This is the legendary Soul Society arc. I've watched this entire series end-to-end multiple times, mapping every single timeline. Here's my honest take. If you don't love the show by the end of the Soul Society arc, you never will. It is an absolute masterpiece of pacing and massive reveals. But wait. After that, you're heading straight into the colossal Arrancar Saga. This bad boy stretches over 100 episodes of pure canon material, introducing the Espada, some of the most iconic villains in anime history. The scale of the war goes completely global, the stakes skyrocket, and the Espada push Ichigo and the cast to their absolute physical and psychological limits. This saga is the grand, sprawling epic that defines the middle of the franchise. Now here is the terrifying reality of early 2000s anime production. Out of the original 366 episodes, there are over 150 episodes of pure filler trash scattered throughout those incredible canon arcs. Because the anime was catching up to the manga way too fast, the studio couldn't progress the real story, so they just started making things up to stall for time. To survive this long-running beast and protect the pacing of the Arrancar Saga we just talked about, you need a ruthless execution list.
Wait, let me just do the math for you right now. Skipping these bad arcs saves you roughly 52 hours of your actual real life. Over 50 hours! Think about that massive psychological win. You can skip over 2 full days of irrelevant nonsense and just ride the pure adrenaline of the canon story. You could literally watch 3 other entire anime series in the time I am saving you today. Which brings us to your first major hurdle, episodes 64 through 108, the Bount arc. Skip. Absolute red X. Why? Because it completely halts the main story's momentum right after a massive emotional climax. You just came off the absolute highest stakes rescue mission of the decade. In the Soul Society, the hype is literally through the roof, and suddenly you're dragged back to the human world fighting spiritual vampires in a forest. It's unbearable tonal whiplash, and the lore introduced here literally never matters again. This is exactly where most people give up. Trust me on this, skip the bounce entirely and save your sanity. You're also going to aggressively skip the new Captain arc, covering episodes 168 to 189, and the Gote 13 Invading Army arc from episodes 311 through 341. Again, hard skip. They have zero character development that carries over to the main cast and zero impact on the actual canon timeline. It's just characters running in circles in a non-canon sandbox to buy time for the manga author. It is incredibly frustrating to see characters you love treated like action figures with zero real stakes. It literally pauses their growth, so just skip them.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is where it gets spicy. Episodes 227 through 265, the Zanpakuto arc. Half the fandom says skip all filler, period. Here's why I disagree. This is widely considered the strongest Bleach filler ever made. The concept of the Soul Reaper's actual swords, physically manifesting, coming to life, and rebelling against their masters is incredibly cool to watch unfold. Seeing these characters fight the literal source of their own powers is absolutely fascinating. And series creator TYBW actually liked some of the character designs so much he made them canon later. It's technically optional, but I say watch it. Let me know in the comments right now if you are a strict canon-only purist, or if you actually agree that the Zanpakuto arc is peak. I will defend this arc all day.
Let's move on and see how this builds when we factor in the movies and OVAs. For the most part, movies 2, 3, and 4, skip them. They are non-canon, flashy, but totally pointless to the main narrative. The Sealed Sword Frenzy OVA, skip. But movie 1, titled Memories of Nobody, which you should slot right after episode 63, watch it. Most people don't realize this, but movie 1 actually references concepts that the main canon manga acknowledges much later. Memories in the Rain is also a solid optional OVA adaptation of early manga scenes, but movie 1 is the only true cinematic detour actually worth your time. After you navigate the massive Arrancar Saga and dodge all that filler, you land at the final stretch of the original TV run, the Lost Agent or Fullbring arc, covering episodes 342 to 366. It's a massive vibe shift. Ichigo has lost his powers, and for the first time, he's completely vulnerable. Because of that, this arc feels incredibly grounded, deeply psychological, and low-key operates like a tense supernatural mystery thriller rather than a blockbuster war. Once you get through the Fullbring arc, the show becomes something completely different. And that leads directly to the Promised Land. Immediately after episode 366, you jump straight into the 1,000-year blood war. No breaks for you. But keep in mind, real-world fans waited a full, agonizing decade for this arc to be animated. This is 40 episodes of pure, critically acclaimed, modern movie-quality animation split across 3 parts: the blood warfare, the separation, and the conflict. It is the breathtaking, ultra-violent payoff you just spent the last few hundred episodes grinding for, and the visual upgrade is absolutely mind-blowing.
Which brings us to the endgame, the 1,000-year blood war, the calamity. This is the confirmed final part, dropping in July 2026, with early theatrical screenings starting in late June. Most people don't realize this, but series creator TYBW is personally supervising anime original expansions for this exact finale. The anime didn't just catch up to the manga, it is actively fixing and expanding the originally rushed manga ending. This isn't just another season, this is the redemption of a big 3 shonen series finale. There is literally no way you want to miss being caught up for this cultural moment.
Here's the honest truth about Bleach. It is not perfect. If you want hyper-tight pacing and zero downtime, you are going to struggle, even with this filler guide. But if you want unparalleled aesthetic drip, a massive, brilliantly interconnected cast of captains and villains, and some of the most hype power reveals in the history of the medium, Bleach is an undeniable masterpiece. Navigating it with this exact roadmap strips away all the studio bloat and leaves you with an unforgettable, stylish epic that practically defines cool. It's a journey that, when watched right, proves exactly why it earned its legendary status.
But don't just take my word for it. You are about to experience some of the greatest plot twists and sword fights ever put on screen. For the returning fans, what moment wrecked you emotionally the first time you watched? Drop a comment when you finish the Soul Society arc. I want to know your reaction. Subscribe to ZeroAnime for episode breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.